Bonjour les étudiants de français 2. Dans cette leçon, dans cette vidéo, nous allons étudier la leçon 10 au supermarché. So in this video, we'll study lesson 10 of the title At the Supermarket. So we will continue to study under the umbrella of the food in food unit, in food vocab. We'll start in this lesson studying more elements related to grammar to add to what we learned last lesson regarding the new vocab. Okay, so let me share my screen. Et on peut commencer. Je vais partager mon écran et on va commencer. Voilà, leçon 10 au supermarché. Voilà, au supermarché. Et me voilà avec beaucoup d'achats de nourriture au supermarché. Okay, so we will start with the learning targets for lesson 10A, 10A. So we will have different sections for the lesson, and for each lesson we will have some learning targets. I can communicate about what someone wants to do, can do, or should do. So wants means vouloir, to want. Can means pouvoir, to be able to, and should means devoir, to have to, or should, right? Okay, so we will start learning how to conjugate these verbs, first of all, and then we will learn how to apply them to our unit, into our lesson. Let's start by reading this little dialogue ici. Qu'est-ce que tu veux, Minou? What do you want, Minou? Je voudrais du lait. I would like some milk. Voudrais, by the way, is the verb to want or vouloir, conjugated not in the present tense like it is here, je veux. It's like I would like, it's the conditional tense used in French as in English to indicate respect and politeness. Je voudrais, I would like, instead of je veux, I want. But let's learn how to conjugate the verbs vouloir, répéter, remplissez vos notes, don't forget to fill out your lesson notes, and to repeat, pause and repeat as many times as you need. So, vouloir, pouvoir, et devoir. And I've added the translations of these verbs here in colors. Note the forms of the irregular verbs, vouloir, pouvoir, and devoir. So here we have irregular verbs. What does that mean when we have an irregular verb? It means the conjugation with different subject pronoun does not follow a predictable pattern, or it means that the verb, when it's conjugated, changes form with different subject pronouns. So here is the stem vouloir, vous, vul. It changes to veux. See, it's not the same and it's not predictable. Okay, so let's just memorize vouloir in the infinitive, and we'll have to conjugate it in the present tense au présent, and we will learn as well the passé composé. So, vouloir, répéter. Et écrivez, je veux, tu veux. Here we have the long E. So the E, U, X, the whole cluster sounds like E, a long E. Je veux, tu veux, il, elle, on veut. And notice X, X, T, or X, X, T for the ending. Nous voulons, vous voulez, ils et elles veulent. So again, je veux, I want. Tu veux, you want. Il, elle, on veut, he, she, it, or we in the informal want. Nous voulons, we want. Vous voulez, you want. You all want, or you in the formal form for one person want. Ils et elles veulent. So veut, veulent. The EU here sounds a little different than the EU here. Veut is more closed here. And for ils veulent, it's a little bit more open. Veulent. Okay. In the passé composé, the verb vouloir is conjugated with avoir as a helper verb. And the past participle is voulu, voulu. So, j'ai voulu. Now, pouvoir. Remember, pause and repeat as you need. Pouvoir. Je peux. I can. Tu peux. You can. Il, elle, on peut. He, she, it, or we in the informal, can. Nous pouvons. We can. Vous pouvez. Ils et elles peuvent. Like veulent, peuvent. And remember, the E and T is totally silent. J'ai pu is I was able, I could. In the passé composé, it's conjugated with avoir, and the past participle is pu. So all these verbs are conjugated with avoir, with the past participle ending with U. J'ai voulu, j'ai pu, and j'ai dû, with accent circonflexe on the U, dû. So let's conjugate now the whole verb devoir in the présent, au présent. Je dois, I must. Tu dois. You should. Il, elle, on doit. Nous devons. Vous devez. Il et elle doivent. So here we have a different combination of letters to make the sound doivent. Je dois. Tu dois, il doit, nous devons, vous devez, ils doivent. And in the passé composé, it's j'ai dû. I should have. Okay, just a little visual here to remind you that vouloir is conjugated like this. Here are the endings, x, x, t, ons, ez, ent. X, x, t, ons, ez, ent. D'accord. Vouloir means to want. It can be followed by a noun or an infinitive. Veux-tu une glace? Here we have the question form or the interrogative form with the inversion to ask a question. So we can say either est-ce que tu veux with adding est-ce que, or veux-tu using the inversion, moving the tu after the verb and adding a hyphen, right? Veux-tu une glace? Do you want an ice cream cone? Voulez-vous déjeuner avec nous? Do you want to have lunch with us? To express a request politely, the French use je voudrais instead of je veux, which I already mentioned at the start of the video. Je voudrais une glace instead of je veux. Je veux is a little bit informal and it would be awkward to say it with a person you're not really close to. I would like an ice cream cone et je voudrais déjeuner. I would like to have dinner. So notice here, veux and voudrais are both can be followed by a noun. Je voudrais une glace. I would like an ice cream cone. Or je voudrais déjeuner. I would like to have lunch, which means that we have two consecutive verbs. When we have two consecutive verbs, the first one is conjugated and the second is not conjugated, so it stays in the infinitive with an er in this case. To accept an offer, the French often use the expression je veux bien. Je veux bien. Tu veux déjeuner avec moi? Do you want to have lunch with me? Oui, je veux bien. Yes, I would love to. Continuons with pouvoir and devoir. Pouvoir has several English equivalents: can, may, and to be able. Can, let's see some an example for this one. Est-ce que tu peux faire les courses? Can you do the food shopping? Which means les courses, food shopping. So here we have can. Est-ce que tu peux? For may, est-ce que tu peux? Est-ce que je peux entrer? May I enter or may I come in? To be able, here's an example. Jacques ne peut pas venir ce soir. Jacques is not able to come tonight. D'accord? So pause and repeat as needed. Devoir is usually followed by an infinitive. Note its English equivalent or equivalents, because we have three different equivalents: should, must, or have. Like so. Let's look at an example with should. Nous devons étudier ce soir. Notice that we have a verb after devons, after devoir. Nous devons étudier ce soir. We should study tonight. For must, vous ne devez pas sortir. You must not go out. For have, je dois préparer le dîner. I have to fix dinner. So we could add to, have to here. To have to fix dinner, je dois préparer le dîner. When devoir is followed by a noun, it means to owe. This is why here usually it's followed by a verb. But if it's followed by a noun, it means to owe. Je dois 20 euros à mon frère. I owe my brother 20 euros. And here is a link that we will work on in class or as a separate activity. Mais on continue maintenant avec les articles partitifs or partitive articles. And I think before you start wondering what the partitive articles are, I can tell you that you already use them or seen them. You've seen them in one way or another. So here we are at leçon 10B. C'est le partitif, is the partitive. I can communicate general amounts, some of food or beverages using the partitive du, de la, or des. So when we use du, de la, or des, it translates to French or to English to some. D'accord? Let's look at it like this. Voilà, or voici and, oops, pardon. Voici and voilà both mean here is or there is. Voici un poulet. Here's a chicken. Un poulet. So here we used an article. Remember the articles un, une, and des. Un for masculine, une for feminine as une salade, and des salades, you can say use des for plural of des salades. But so what is the difference between un, une, and des, and du, de la, and des? When we talk about something that you can count, like a whole chicken, we use un poulet. We use the definite articles un, une, or des, right? If we're talking about a whole melon, we say un melon. Let's compare. If we're talking about a piece of chicken, we say du poulet. It's like I want some chicken, right? Some chicken. Un melon, when we have a whole melon, we say un melon, but when it's a slice, you say it's like some melon. If you're not precising that it's a slice or une tranche, you say some melon, du melon. Or when you say in English, you may drop the some, but in French, you have to keep the du. D'accord? Look at this. Une salade, a whole head of lettuce. But some leaves of lettuce, we call it, when it's some leaves, right? We say de la salade. It's a partitive. It's a part of a whole. Some of a big quantity. Okay? Une tarte, we have a whole pie or tart. We say une tarte, but when it's a slice or two, we say de la tarte if we are not precising how many slices. D'accord. Here are the forms of and we will talk more about this as we go. D'accord? Here are the forms of the partitive articles and the uses of them. The partitive article has the following forms. We have a masculine partitive article. We have a feminine form. For the masculine, we have both du, as in du fromage, and du pain, meaning some cheese and some bread. And we have de l'apostrophe when it's followed by a vowel sound, like de l'argent, some money. In English, we say some money. En français, on dit de l'argent. Now, if the nouns are feminine, of course, we have to use the feminine form of the partitive article. De la salade, de la limonade, some salad, some lemonade, de l'eau. Eau is feminine, the water, remember that. So we say de l'eau. When do we use the partitive article? They're used to refer to a certain quantity or a certain amount of something, as I just explained. Note how they are used in the sentences below. Voici du pain. Here is some bread. Et voilà de la confiture. And there is some jam. D'accord? See how we can translate the partitive article. Philippe mange du fromage. Philippe is eating some cheese. Or we can drop it in English. We say, Philip is eating cheese. In French, we cannot drop it. We have to keep it. Nous achetons de l'eau minérale. We are buying some mineral water or mineral water. Again, in French, we have to keep some. We cannot drop it. Est-ce que tu veux de la salade? Do you want any or some or salad? Oui, donne-moi de la salade. Yes, give me some salad. Here is a dialogue in the photo. Ici, est-ce que tu veux de la salade? Oui, donne-moi de la salade. So, who is the young man talking to here? Or the young men, who are they talking to? How related or how close are they to each other? By the use of tu, we know that they are friends or close relatives. Let's do a language comparisons. While the words some and any are often omitted in French, the articles du and de la must be used in French. And remember, the articles are small words that are placed before the nouns. In this case, we're studying the partitive articles. D'accord? Okay, so we're gonna practice and practice and practice together. When do we use des? When do we use une? When do you use un, une, des, or deux, de la, des, and des apostrophe, de L apostrophe? Okay. Voila, let me move over here. The partitive articles are used in reference to a portion or a part of something that is being consumed, right? Typically food, as in our unit. You must use partitive articles with verbs talking about consumptions like manger, acheter, vouloir, avoir, boire, prendre, etc. And I'm going to translate them in order: to eat, to buy, to want, to have, to drink, and to take. The partitive articles are du, de la, de L apostrophe. Et voici, me voilà, this is moi. Je regarde une tarte, right? Je regarde a whole pie. But if I want a slice, I say, je voudrais de la tarte, some, right? Now, let's compare the partitive articles that we just spoke about to the indefinite articles. The indefinite article, and I'm going to go back to the previous slide for 1 minute. Partitive articles are du, de la, de L apostrophe, as I showed you examples. Now we're going to remember, it's a little review of the indefinite articles in French, which are un, une, des. And the three of them translate to the one letter word a in English. You use an indefinite article when talking about a whole item or some whole items. So you'd say une tarte, a tart, or a pie. D'accord? Let's look at the partitive article in a chart form. And just as a reminder for the previous slide, we will do a lot of practices to help us distinguish the definite articles from the partitive articles. Indefinite articles versus partitive articles. Whole items versus partial items. Voici un poulet, mais voilà du poulet. Voici un melon, du melon, une salade, de la salade, une tarte, de la tarte. Now, let's look at the articles of food, les articles, or those partitive articles with food items. Okay, so here we have a, the, some, and not any. Not any, of course, includes the negative form. And let's look at the column here to the left. Roast beef, masculin, salade, féminin, fromage, pluriel, et au, it starts with a vowel, n'est-ce pas? So if it's a roast beef, we say a roast beef. It's a whole roast beef, right? The roast beef translates to le roast beef. Some, du roast beef. Not any, pas de roast beef. We start with pas, and then we add de, okay? Never plural, even if it's plural. The de after pas, we always write de in the singular form, okay? So, salade, a salad, une salade, the salad, la salade, some salad, de la salade, not any, pas de salade. cheese, you can't say a cheeses, right? We say, in English, we say cheese. In French, we say les fromages. For some cheese, des fromages. Not any, pas de fromage. For water, a water, you know, the water, l'eau, some water, de l'eau, and not any water, I don't want any water, je ne veux pas d'eau. D'accord? All right, so here la chenille a faim, the hungry caterpillar. It's a reading that we will do together, or as an activity, separate activity. We will do this type of activity in class also. What's the article here? I showed you here, I'm gonna show you a couple examples, but there are many more for using class. What's the article? Un poulet or du poulet? Since it's a whole chicken, we say un poulet. N'est-ce pas? Un poulet, it's a whole chicken. Now, what's the article? Un poulet or du poulet? Is it a whole chicken? No, it's some chicken, so we say du poulet, n'est-ce pas? What's the article? Une pizza or de la pizza? Remember, de la, not du this time, because pizza is feminine. It's de la pizza, some pizza. Okay, let's keep moving to leçon 10C, with the cible d'apprentissage. I can communicate about a lack of food or beverage in the negative, using the expression not any, pas de, which we just saw a little bit of, we touched on a little bit in the previous slides. First of all, n'oubliez pas, do not forget that the partitive article and indefinite articles all become de or des apostrophes in a negative sentence, like so. Je mange du poulet, I eat some chicken. Je ne mange pas de poulet. D'accord? Another example. So both the partitive and the indefinite articles become de in the negative form. Elle a un frère, elle n'a pas deux frères. D'accord? Knowing that, let's look at the partitive article in negative sentences in more details with more examples. So l'article partitif dans les phrases négatives. Note the forms of the partitive articles in the negative sentences below. We'll look at the affirmative form first, and then the negative, and then we'll look at the translation en anglais. Tu veux du pain? Do you want some bread? Non, merci, je ne veux pas de pain. No, thanks, I don't want any bread. Ne pas de, this is the negative form of du, right? Pas ne, pas de. Pain. Tu as pris de la tarte? De la tarte, it's partitive. Did you have any pie? Non, je n'ai pas pris de tarte. Je n'ai pas pris de tarte. I didn't have any pie. Again, de la turns to de. Tu bois du café? Are you drinking some coffee? Some partitive becomes non, je ne bois jamais de café. And remember, you can substitute pas with jamais, meaning never. Je ne bois jamais de café. Du turns to de. I never drink any coffee. Il y a de l'eau minérale. Is there any mineral water? Non, il n'y a plus d'eau minérale. So again, you can replace pas with jamais or plus. Plus means no more. So meaning, so de l'eau minérale turn to ne plus de. Il n'y a plus d'eau minérale. So we put ne and pas around a and i. Okay, all around this cluster here, if you're looking where my cursor is. Il n'y a plus d'eau minérale. There is no more mineral water. D'accord? After negative expressions such as ne, pas, ne, jamais, and ne plus, not, never, not, no more. Here is the formula that we use. Du, de la, de l'apostrophe, all turn to de or des apostrophes. As we saw here, de, the apostrophe in front of a vowel starting, in front of a noun starting with a vowel. D'accord? So here is the formula. Note the use of pas de in short answers. Short answers, no merci, pas de café pour moi. No coffee for me, thanks. No merci, pas de café pour moi. D'accord? Here we come to the end of our video for today. Voilà. I hope if the elements are a little tricky that you go back and view them again. Take the time to understand and fill out the notes, and we'll do more activities together, and you'll do some independently. And always I'm available for any questions. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.